Alright, alright. What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at Cardano, ADA, against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Are you bullish on price action? Do you think we've found support, recovered? We're likely to interact with these multi-dollar ranges that we came from in the not so distant past? Or are we still bearish? Support has yet to be found and we have some more downside ahead of us. Say we're going to fail to hold this like zone of accumulation here, and we're going to interact with that like sub-dollar range that we came from. Let me know your thoughts on the direction of price action down in the comment section below. Jumping right into it. We have price action interacting with this ascending trend line all throughout this kind of uptrend here since the good old COVID crash in the middle of March of 2020. Price action rallying upward, interacting with this ascending trend line with both as support and resistance, in addition to the kind of horizontal support and resistance levels that we've kind of found price action interacting with. We do have this very aggressive breakout here upon these kind of like multiple rejections that we had at the kind of like beginning and sort of middle of January of 2021, interacting with that ascending trend line as resistance. Price action was bought up very quickly, and we gave them the momentum to kind of break upward at the kind of beginning of February of this year into this very volatile range that we've been kind of bouncing back and forth and between in for the kind of past kind of few months here since that breakout at the beginning of February up until now. We've kind of rallied kind of from that sort of like 44-cent level per Cardano all the way up to a swing high of like $2.40 per Cardano. But we seem to have a a strong example of price action bouncing between this very key range. I believe between kind of $1.48 and kind of 94 cents. So I mean, there's a very aggressive range there that price action has found kind of support and resistance within. We have multiple rejections off of this range, but between kind of $1.39 to $1.48, we have rejections downward as resistance at the kind of 27th of February and the kind of 18th of March of 2021. We even have price action kind of breaking upward, setting some kind of higher highs relative to those swing highs, but ultimately getting rejected from that range for the kind of third time. But we found support at the kind of upper part of this lower zone. This $1.08 to kind of 93 cents is a potential area of support that we could be bearish enough to kind of come down to. We do have price action kind of wicking all the way to that ascending trend line below the kind of bottom of that range. So we could very well see some price action within that zone if we aren't bullish enough to kind of recover from where we are. As our price action rallied, we broke resistance at $1.48. Interacted with that kind of like $2.40 level there. That swing high was very bullish. Some nice levels some nice euphoric levels per Cardano there, but an abrupt change of momentum occurred and we came pummeling all the way back down to potential support at $1.48. But it seems that we kind of plow through it just to come back to that lower zone near $1 there. So we sort of bounced very aggressively, traded sideways, attempted to find support above sort of like $1.38. Although we were kind of too bearish. Momentum was kind of like too sideways, and the sell pressure was high enough to kind of break us downward here. We even failed to hold that ascending trend line upon those kind of multiple recoveries around kind of $1.38. We tried to attempt support at that ascending trend line, although a break downward did occur, and this could very well be a retest as at resistance to continue the downtrend. Although price action could be very much bullish enough to recover, and we could very well find our way back above kind of $1.38, seeing that $1.48 level kind of again. But price action is going to be at very significant resistance at the moment. I do believe $1.38 is going to be a very significant kind of sell level that we will need a lot of momentum to kind of break and find our way kind of above there. I can be more short-term bullish with price action kind of opening and closing within this kind of zone. The higher we are above $1.38, the more short-term bullish we can be. Although I do believe with this resistance here, some interaction downward could very well occur in the kind of short-term here as we attempt to find support kind of around that $1 level, like $1.07. Could be kind of like a more bullish target, although there could be some lows, perhaps sub $1. But when we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the Fibba Zucchini lines of Illuminati, fettuccine, bikinis, martinis, and geometry, we can see a new perspective come into play here. We consider that 200 daily moving average price action still above, so we are looking bullish long term, I believe, this reach, this wick kind of down toward it on the 22nd of June of this year could suggest price action could, find its way kind of back down to it to confirm it as support, just to make sure. We do have potential support at $1.24 at 0.5 Fibonacci line. Is going to give us some short-term support here if we are, bullish enough to hold. Although we could very well break and find ourselves near $1 here. The 0.382 Fibonacci line at 95 cents, just above my 94-cent kind of support level, could be another kind of target that we can find our way kind of down to here in the short term and still be bullish kind of midterm. And interaction with this 200 daily moving average is going to be very pivotal for the trend moving forward. Price action closing below it would be quite bearish, and very high sell pressure would be present, I believe, under it. Although the fundamentals of Cardano, I do believe, are present enough to kind of hold us above, and support along that level would be a great technical confirmation of the uptrend as well. We do have significant resistance ahead, like I said, in the $1.38 level, all the way up to what appears to be that 0.618 Fibonacci level at $1.53. Could be a large zone of resistance that is going to be quite significant moving forward. Price action at that range between the 0.618 line and the 0.786 line could very well interact with that ascending trend line again, although we will have to see how price action will respect it, seeing if it is resistance or support or not. Like I said, price action in a very pivotal moment. We seem to be trapped in a very tight range here. We'll need to see how this kind of plays out over the next coming days. A rejection downward could send us toward that dollar level. The fundamentals are present to keep us kind of bullish enough to hold kind of sideways, although the technicals, sell pressure of how aggressive this kind of upward rally was since breaking that ascending trend line. We have been quite overbought, especially when we were to consider the fear and greed index here. We can see price action has spent a significant amount of time up in what's called the FOMO zone, where price action, a lot of FOMO is present, so tops are bought, bottoms are bought, and the rally continues. Very high technical sell pressure is present at this level, causing very aggressive sell-offs that these swing highs can print. And so these swing highs come from the FOMO present in, just the potential bullishness of the coin. Typically what occurs upon interaction with the FOMO zone is a projection downward, kind of back out of it. Although if the coin is bullish enough fundamentally, we get price action up in the range for a period of time. But we do tend to see these volatile swings both up and down as FOMO is present, and so the volatility of price action is very high at these levels. So we finally exited the FOMO zone at the kind of 10th of June there. We seem to have retested it kind of at the 15th of June, and so we seem to be coming downward since then. I do believe exiting the FOMO zone is going to be bullish for Cardano long term, and this will be a chance for price action to kind of find support and kind of rally up again. And so, lots going on with Cardano, and what we consider Cardano against Bitcoin. A new perspective comes into play. Price action interacting between this significant range of kind of 31.03 Satoshi all the way up to 52.99 Satoshi is going to be a target I do believe we will likely interact with, although we did have this swing high that only went up to kind of like 50.49 Satoshi. Price action consolidating sideways, interacting with these kind of like lower highs, resistance found around kind of 47.34 Satoshi. We came down, attempted to find support at what appears to be kind of where we are currently. I do believe there's potential support kind of around like 4,000 level. We could be at resistance at the moment, although price action is kind of very in a very kind of like sideways state, very indecision, a lot of indecision at the market at the moment. When we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the Fibonacci lines of Illuminati and geometry and Illuminati again. New perspective comes into play. We can see that 0.786 line suggesting what appears to be resistance at that kind of like 4,000 Satoshi level. What appears to be that 4,062 Satoshi is going to be a significant kind of selling point that we could kind of rally up to. And rejection off of that level could send us down to that 0.618 line, all the way down to 32.74 Satoshi, or my support at 30.97 Satoshi. Below that is a 0.5 line, which is kind of a more bearish target if we fail to hold kind of either of those levels. Lots going on for Cardano. We have the sell for against the price of Bitcoin, suggesting some potential downside, also correlating with the sell for present on the USDT chart. So some more downside or sideways could present itself in the short term before we can continue upward. I do believe the fundamentals of Cardano are ever so bullish, and the demand for Cardano at these levels is high enough to keep us, if not sideways through all this very high technical sell pressure. And so I do believe some increased volatility is coming in addition to perhaps some short-term downsides, some lower levels could present themselves kind of moving forward. But when we consider Bitcoin against USDT, we can see a new perspective come into play. Interaction with that 0.5 Fibonacci line, that 34,300 is a very critical level that we are attempting to find support along. I do believe price action could very well be bullish enough to hold here. Recovery from this range could send us up all the way back to attempt to interact with that 0.618 line again. 41,500 is very, very significant resistance. We got kind of near it on the 15th of June and then got slapped all the way back down to kind of where we are currently. Price action in a very volatile state at the moment. A lot of indecision in the market, a lot of technical sell pressure present with these kind of factors such as the 200 daily moving average suggesting a long-term potential downtrend forming from a very technical perspective to a lot of traders. Although the fundamentals are quite bullish and the demand is so high for Bitcoin at these ranges, we are seeing some very aggressive sideways, keeping us up near what appears to be that 200 daily moving average. And so although price action could very well fail to hold these ranges and we can interact with 32K again, failure to hold that range could bring us all the way down to 27,000, the 0.382 Fibonacci line. Below there, if the price fails to hold there, is $19,161 potential support, or kind of my most bearish target, the 0.236 line at $18,195. And so even at those levels, I can still be long-term bullish for Bitcoin. Kind of the lower we go and the more accumulation we have, I do believe the more momentum we will be building up to bring us to that six-figure range past all-time highs. So, I mean, some downside, some accumulation, I do believe is healthy for the uptrend moving forward, as we have had a very bullish kind of like year and a bit since the good old COVID crash. And so Bitcoin is overall looking quite bullish still, but some technical downside, some sell pressure, some accumulation might be what's necessary kind of like in the midterm before we can continue upward in the long term. So price action at a very pivotal point. We have that sell force still present, suggesting some very high sell pressure, some breaks downward could occur. Will we find support along 34,300? Let me know in the comment section below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Do you buy Bitcoin? Do you buy Cardano? Are you trading at these lows here? Are you accumulating? Or have you sold your whole bag? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube and tune in for the next one.